Welcome to Inside the Markets from GMS Podcasts. I'm Jamie, and today we're back in India for a follow up to our earlier conversation with Kiran Thorat, head of the GMS India Office. When we last spoke, Alang was buzzing, LNGs were arriving, compliance was top of mind, and Indian recyclers were leading the region with confidence despite growing global uncertainty. 2 months later, the mood has shifted. Prices have come down, vessel arrivals have slowed, and caution has returned to the market. Yet through it all, India remains steady, showing the same professionalism and patience that have long defined its leadership in ship recycling. Kiran, great to have you back.
Thanks, Jamie. It's great to be here again.
Let's start with the big picture. The last time we talked, yards were busy and the mood was upbeat. How would you describe the sentiment in Alang right now?
It's definitely been a slower period, but things are steady. In October, we had 16 vessels arrive for recycling, representing about 125,000 metric tons of light displacement. It's not a boom, but it's consistent enough to keep activity going. We have seen correction of about $30 to $35 per LDT over the last 6 weeks, which naturally made recyclers more cautious. But what stands out is the resilience here. Local recyclers have stayed patient, maintained their operations, and continued working through a quicker market. The mood is mixed, cautious, but gradually improving as more vessels trickle in, sentiment stabilizes.
And when the market slows like this, some places tend to wind down operations, but Alang never really stops. What are the yards focusing on during this phase?
Even in quieter times, Alang remains active behind the scenes. Fully operational yards are keeping full staff, and even those without vessels at the moment continue to retain personnel. The Hong Kong Convention requires ongoing maintenance and inspection of every part of recycling facility, whether it's cranes, winches, drainage systems, hazardous material cabins, and so on. Yard owners are conducting functional tests, safety drills, and system checks to make sure everything stays ready and compliant. A few are taking a wait and watch approach, but they are maintaining infrastructure and documentation so they can restart full scale operations immediately once the market turns. It's a disciplined approach. Nobody here wants to lose readiness.
That discipline and consistency are a big reason India has stayed ahead of its neighbors. But right now, negotiations seem to be more difficult. Owners still want high prices, while buyers are clearly cautious. How is that dynamic playing out?
Negotiations have definitely become tougher. Ship owners are still expecting higher levels for their recycling candidates, but end buyers are hesitant to match those numbers. The uncertainty in global steel markets and big demand have kept buyers conservative. That said, one thing has not changed: the focus on compliance. Everyone from end buyers to cash buyers continues to maintain a zero tolerance approach towards non compliant practices. So, even though deals are taking longer, both sides are prioritizing clean documentation and transparent execution. The industry has matured, and that professionalism is what helping maintain stability during a soft market.
And what's happening within the yards themselves? Are they still maintaining staff and equipment, or are some scaling back to save costs?
The majority are maintaining their full teams. It's important to remember that compliance is not something you can pause. Equipment has to be regularly tested, emergency systems inspected, and safety processes documented. Even yards without active recycling projects are keeping the essential staff on site to ensure all HKC requirements are met. You can't just restart compliance overnight. Maintaining readiness ensures that when the next vessels arrive, the yard can operate safely and efficiently. That level of discipline is what sets Indian recyclers apart from the rest.
Let's look at India's position in the regional landscape. Pakistan and Bangladesh have both seen some movement lately, but India still seems to command more confidence internationally. What's keeping India in front?
Really comes down to three things: compliance, trust, and reliability. Over 110 yards in India are now certified under the Hong Kong Convention. That's the highest anywhere in the world. Most of these yards voluntarily upgraded their facilities years ago under the supervision of classification societies, which shows long term commitment, not just compliance for the sake of regulation. That kind of infrastructure, combined with India's legal framework and operational transparency, gives ship owners complete confidence. They know that whether they are recycling an LNG carrier, a tanker, or a complex offshore unit, the process in India will be safe, compliant, and fully documented. That trust, built over decades, is why India continues to be the preferred destination for responsible recycling.
It's been a volatile few months globally. Currency movements, weaker steel prices, and policy changes have all added pressure. Given all that, what's your outlook for India as we move toward the end of the year?
I believe we are at the bottom of the cycle now. Prices have shown a small improvement of around $5 per LDT since the Diwali period, and that's encouraging. The rupee has stabilized slightly, and while demand for steel remains subdued, it has not weakened further. The overall sentiment in Alang is more positive now. If the steady inflow of vessels continues, we could see a mild recovery over the next 2 months. It won't be sharp rebound, but gradual upward trend that restores some confidence to both buyers and sellers.
That sounds encouraging. Before we wrap up, what message would you like to share with the global ship recycling community as 2025 draws to a close?
Stay compliant, stay patient, and stay prepared. The market always moves in cycles, and India's strength lies in the ability to weather these fluctuations without losing focus on responsible recycling. This is the time for discipline and long term thinking. Those who continue to uphold the standards of safe and transparent recycling today will be the ones best positioned when the next wave of opportunities arrive.
That's a great note to end on. Kiran, thank you once again for joining us and sharing your insights from the ground.
Thank you, Jamie. Always a pleasure.
And that's all for this edition of Inside the Markets from GMS Podcasts. India's story remains one of resilience, readiness, and responsibility, even in the toughest phases of the market. Join us next time as we continue our regional updates from across the globe. Until then, stay compliant, stay resilient, and stay ahead.